Imagine this: she used to leave her phone on the couch, unlocked, face up, without a second thought. If it buzzed, you'd both glance at it. No tension, no secrecy. But now it's different. Her phone lives glued to her hand or tucked away like it's holding state secrets. She sets it face down, the screen dark, the sound off. And when it lights up, there's that flicker of panic in her eyes, the split-second glance, the subtle shift of body language that screams, "I don't want you to see this." Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They think they're being careful, protecting privacy. But the truth is, privacy and secrecy aren't the same thing. Privacy is healthy. Secrecy is a signal. When someone suddenly guards something that was once openly shared, it's not about the phone. It's about what the phone represents. That shift isn't random. It's tied to the fear of being discovered. And you don't need to catch a message to know it. All you need to do is watch how the energy around that little device has completely changed. You'll notice it in her energy before you ever notice it in her actions. She comes home with a certain lightness, almost like she's been carrying around a secret source of joy that doesn't involve you. The way she smiles, it's different, not bad, just misplaced. It's that kind of smile that doesn't linger when she looks at you, because it wasn't created by you in the first place. You might even catch her humming to herself, laughing at nothing, staring at her phone with that subtle glow in her eyes. The kind of glow people have when they feel seen and desired in a new way. And here's the thing, you're not imagining it. Human beings are wired to radiate when they're excited, when they're getting attention, when they're feeling wanted. But if you're not the one fueling that spark anymore, you'll sense it. Her presence feels divided, her joy feels borrowed. It's like she's feeding on a different energy source, and though she may try to carry it back into your world, you can tell it doesn't belong there. It starts to show up in the little rituals you once took for granted. The good morning text that used to arrive without fail now comes hours late, if at all. The playful calls on her drive home suddenly vanish, replaced with silence or a quick, distracted "I'll call you later." Even the small inside jokes, the silly comments you used to share, start to die out. And it's not because she's too busy or because life just got in the way when people care. They make time. When their heart is invested, they fight to keep those tiny habits alive. What's really happening is her attention is no longer anchored in your world. She's splitting herself between two realities. She may not even mean to, but her emotional bandwidth is being siphoned away. And here's what hurts most: you don't lose someone overnight. You lose them in these small, quiet ways, ritual by ritual, laugh by laugh, until one day you look around and realize the closeness you once had has been replaced by a hollow kind of distance. And that distance is almost always the first real giveaway. You start to notice it in the way she explains herself. Sometimes it's too much. She gives you every tiny detail about where she's been, who she was with, what time she left, almost like she's rehearsed a script in her head. And other times, it's the complete opposite: vague answers, short replies, no real story at all. Both extremes raise the same red flag, because when someone is telling the truth, their story just flows. It feels natural, effortless. But when someone is trying to manage a secret, the words either spill out too perfectly or not at all. It's that tiny pause before she answers you, the way her eyes flicker as though she's checking whether the version she's giving you is consistent with the one she gave yesterday. It's subtle, but you feel it, and deep down you know that over-explaining or under-explaining isn't about sharing information. It's about managing perception. It's less about you knowing the truth, and more about making sure you believe the truth she wants you to hear. Then comes the restlessness. The home that once felt like her safe place suddenly feels too small for her. She needs more me time, more nights out, more space that doesn't include you. She used to curl up next to you on the couch without thinking, but now she's restless, fidgety, almost itching to be anywhere but in the stillness of your company. And when you ask what's wrong, the answer is always something vague. I'm just tired, or I need some air. But tired doesn't make someone detach from connection. Needing air doesn't make someone disappear emotionally. What's really happening is she's chasing novelty, craving stimulation that feels different from the life you've built together. And here's the tricky part. It won't look dramatic. It's not explosive arguments or slammed doors. It's a quiet shift, a slow pull away from the comfort of routine, because that routine reminds her of the stability she's drifting from. That craving for space isn't about solitude, it's about distance. And when someone starts creating distance, it's rarely by accident. And then you notice the way she starts showing up differently. Out of nowhere, she's putting extra effort into her appearance, but not in the way she used to for you. Maybe she's experimenting with outfits that feel a little bolder. Maybe she's changing her hair, or suddenly wearing perfume even when she's just running errands. At first, you might tell yourself it's harmless, she just wants to feel good about herself again, and sure, sometimes that's true. But there's a difference between dressing up for self-love and dressing up because someone else is watching. The timing gives it away. She's not putting in that extra effort when you're going out together. It's when she's heading somewhere alone, or to places that never used to matter. That shift isn't random. People naturally invest more energy into their appearance when they feel like they're being noticed, when someone new is giving them attention. And whether she admits it or not, that sudden change in style often says more than any words ever could. It's not just about clothes, it's about who she's hoping to impress. You might also notice the way her affection shifts, and this is where it gets confusing. Sometimes she pulls back less hand, holding fewer kisses, intimacy that feels forced instead of natural. But other times she goes the opposite way. She's suddenly more affectionate, more attentive, almost like she's overcompensating. And that's what makes it so hard to read, because both extremes can come from the same place. When someone feels guilty, they often swing between distance and overcorrection. One moment, she can't bring herself to connect because her emotions are tied up somewhere else. The next, she's showering you with affection, not because she's fully present, but because she's trying to erase the suspicion in your mind. Either way, it doesn't feel the same. Affection that comes from guilt carries a different energy. It's not spontaneous, it's strategic. And when love starts to feel like a performance, you can sense it, even if you can't yet explain why. It shows up in her conversations with you. She used to talk freely, her words flowing without hesitation, but now there's this subtle pause, that tiny gap before she answers. It's almost unnoticeable, but your instincts catch it. It's the kind of pause where you can feel her checking her own story in her head, making sure what she's about to say won't give too much away. And sometimes it's not even the words, it's the tone, a slight defensiveness when you ask something simple, or a sudden change of subject when you get too close to the truth. What makes it unsettling is that it feels rehearsed, like parts of the conversation have been edited before they even reach you. The natural ease between you gets replaced by calculated responses, as if she's filtering her thoughts instead of just sharing them. And that's the giveaway. Because when someone has nothing to hide, they don't need to think twice before they speak. But when secrets enter the picture, even the most ordinary question can feel like a trap. And you can feel that weight in every carefully chosen word. You'll notice it when you talk about the future. Plans that once lit her up now feel like obligations. When you bring up a trip you wanted to take together, she brushes it off with a vague "we'll see." Conversations about moving forward, about building something bigger, suddenly make her uncomfortable. She avoids eye contact, changes the subject, or gives you answers so non-committal they might as well be silence. And it's not because she doesn't understand the importance of those conversations. It's because emotionally, she's no longer investing in the same future with you. When someone's heart is with you, they lean into those talks, even if the timing isn't perfect. They want to imagine what's ahead because they see themselves in it. But when their energy is split, they stop feeding that vision. You'll feel it in the way she disconnects from the us language, the way her words shift from we to me. That drift isn't just about being busy or distracted. It's about her slowly detaching from the life you thought you were building together. It always comes back to this, your gut. That quiet, persistent voice inside of you that whispers when something isn't right. And the truth is, most of us are trained to ignore it. We rationalize it away. We tell ourselves we're being paranoid. We make excuses for the people we love because we want to believe the story they're showing us instead of the one we feel in our bones. But the human gut, the intuition you carry, it's one of the most powerful tools you'll ever have, and when it comes to relationships, it's rarely wrong. You see, your subconscious notices things your conscious mind hasn't yet put into words. The subtle hesitation in her tone, the way her eyes avoid yours at certain moments, the shift in her body language when you walk into the room. You might not be able to pinpoint exactly what is wrong, but you feel it, that uneasy tug in your chest that says, something is off. And here's the hardest part. When you're in love, you don't want to feel it. You don't want to believe that the person you've given your heart to might be drifting, might be hiding, might be sharing pieces of themselves that once belonged only to you with someone else. So you override your intuition with logic. You tell yourself she's just stressed, just busy, just going through a phase. You explain away the missed calls, the distance, the late nights, the new perfume, the changed routines. Because believing the truth feels too painful, too destabilizing. But here's what I want you to understand. Your intuition isn't paranoia. Paranoia is driven by fear with no evidence. Intuition is driven by patterns you've subconsciously picked up on, little signals that don't add up, inconsistencies your heart notices before your brain does. And in affairs, just like in life, the truth always leaks out in patterns. Think about it. When you've known someone deeply, when you've shared life with them, your body becomes attuned to theirs. You know the rhythm of their laugh, the spark in their eyes when they're telling the truth, the ease in their voice when they're fully present. And when that rhythm changes, you can feel it. It's like a favorite song suddenly played in the wrong key. The words might be the same, but the harmony is off, and even if no one else notices, you do. Now, here's where so many people make the mistake. They either ignore their intuition completely, waiting for hard evidence to hit them in the face, or they let their fear run wild and turn their gut feeling into accusations that drive the other person further away. Both approaches are dangerous. Ignoring your gut leaves you vulnerable to betrayal you could have seen coming. Acting out of fear destroys trust and intimacy before you even know the full picture. So what do you do instead? You listen, you watch, you pay attention to the patterns, not just the moments. One off day isn't a betrayal, but a consistent pattern of distance, secrecy, shifts in affection. That's when your intuition is ringing the alarm. And in those moments, the question you need to ask isn't just, is she having an affair? The real question is, why do I feel the need to ignore what I already know? Because deep down, most of the time, you already know. You don't need a dramatic confrontation or a caught in the act scenario. You've felt the truth in the way your connection has changed. The signs were there, not in the obvious ways, but in the subtle shifts, the way her energy feels different, the way her words don't match her actions, the way your relationship has stopped breathing in the same rhythm it once did. And I'll tell you this, sometimes your gut isn't just telling you she's having an affair. Sometimes it's telling you she's disconnected. She's seeking validation somewhere else. She's emotionally gone, even if she hasn't physically crossed the line. And that's just as important to pay attention to, because emotional distance is often the first betrayal, long before physical infidelity happens. The reason intuition is so important is because it's not about catching her. It's about protecting you. Protecting your heart, your peace, your sense of self-worth. Too many people waste years convincing themselves that what they feel isn't real, only to later look back and say, I knew it all along. I just didn't trust myself. And that regret is brutal. Not because of what she did, but because of what you refuse to acknowledge in yourself. Now, let's talk about why intuition matters so much in this context. Affairs aren't just about lust. They're about escape. They're about novelty. They're about validation. And when someone is getting those things elsewhere, no matter how well they try to hide it, their energy shifts. They carry themselves differently. They respond differently, they connect differently, and you, as their partner, feel it in your bones. You'll notice it when you're sitting next to her, and she seems a million miles away. You'll notice it when she's laughing at her phone in a way she doesn't laugh with you anymore. You'll notice it when she's distracted in conversations, when her attention drifts, when her presence feels partial instead of whole. These aren't things you can prove with a screenshot or a text message. These are things you feel. And that's why your gut is your greatest ally. It sees through the mask before your eyes do. But here's the paradox. The people who doubt themselves the most are often the ones who should trust themselves the most. Because if you're the kind of person who guesses, who overthinks, who fears being unfair, you're not the paranoid type. You're the empathetic type, believe, the best in NURTURED by the annals, which CIRCUMSTANCEINS when SUR are not ideal tuition speaks. It's not paranoia, it's truth breaking through the noise. And I'll tell you something else, when you honor your intuition, you also honor your standards. Because the point isn't just about catching someone. The point is about deciding what kind of relationship you want to live in. If your gut is telling you something is wrong, if you're constantly feeling unsettled, constantly doubting, constantly questioning, that alone is enough to have the hard conversation. Because whether she admits to an affair or not, you deserve a love that feels secure, consistent, and real. Think about it. Would you rather spend months, maybe years, silencing yourself, shrinking your instincts, ignoring that voice inside you, only to discover later that you were right? Or would you rather honor yourself in the moment, ask the uncomfortable questions, and face the truth head on? Because the truth, as painful as it may be, is never as destructive as the slow erosion of ignoring what you already know. And here's the final piece. Intuition doesn't just tell you when something's wrong. It also tells you when something is right. When someone is fully present, when their love is genuine, when their energy matches their words, you feel that too. That calm, that ease, that sense of safety you don't have to question, which means when you don't feel it anymore, when that peace is replaced with unease, that's your signal. Not to panic, but to pay attention. So yes, the 10th sign is your gut. The way your heart races when you see her name light up her phone and you know it's not just a friend. The way your chest tightens when she avoids a simple question and you know the answer should have been easy. The way your soul aches when you look at her and realize she's present in body but absent in spirit. That's not paranoia. That's your body screaming the truth your mind doesn't want to face, and the most powerful thing you can do. The bravest, most self-loving thing you can do is listen. Because once you start trusting yourself, once you start honoring that voice inside you, you'll never again stay stuck in a relationship built on lies. You'll never again silence your intuition for the sake of comfort. You'll never again trade your peace of mind for the illusion of security. Because deep down you always knew, and the real strength isn't in finding proof. It's in having the courage to act on what your soul has been telling you all along. And when you step back and look at all of this, the subtle changes in habits, the shifts in energy, the guarded words, the distance in affection, the restless need for space, the sudden new effort in appearing, it all circles back to one thing: the truth always reveals itself. No matter how carefully someone thinks they're hiding, human behavior leaks in the smallest of ways. But the most important lesson isn't about memorizing signs or playing detective. It's about you. It's about learning to trust yourself, to honor your intuition, to believe in what you feel even when it's uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, whether she's having an affair or not, you deserve a love that doesn't make you second guess, that doesn't keep you walking on eggshells, that doesn't leave you wondering where you stand. The real power isn't in catching lies, it's in refusing to settle for a relationship that doesn't feel true. And when you start honoring that standard for yourself, you stop living in fear of losing someone else and start living in the certainty of never losing you.